The pros and cons of investing in property. Now, if you're a beginner looking to invest in property, then I don't blame you. Property is an invaluable asset more often than not. As we know, over time, it appreciates in value. That is why so many people invest in property. Now, some might say, yes, but it's too expensive, or I can't afford to do it, or I don't have the knowledge, I don't know where to invest or how to invest, or even how to get started. They are just some of the pros and cons. So let me just break this down for you. I've been investing in property for a very long time. And for me, I've been able to acquire the expertise, knowledge, and experience based over time and by being able to work with other like-minded people over a number of years. Investing in property means that you have to keep up with the market trends. You have to know what is going on in the marketplace, but also you need to learn why it's good to invest in property and what areas, locations, and type of properties are offering the best return on your investment. Now, some people will say, well, you don't need any money to invest in property. That is partly true. However, you do need some kind of money because let's be honest, like anything in life, if you want to make money, you very often have to invest some money. So what are the pros about investing in property? Well, if you invest early enough in life, okay, like take my children, for example, they're all young adults. Now, each and every one of them has either invested in property or they're considering investing in property. Now, you might decide that, yes, you want to buy your first residential home because you're getting married, which is great. We all want to do this. Now, some people will say, no, I'm going to rent a property and use my money or my financial assets, my income or whatever, to invest in a property so I can create an additional passive income, for example. What is passive income? Well, passive income is a monthly payment that you'll receive from your tenants when you rent a property out. So, for example, if you're renting a property and you're paying your landlord, say £1,000 a month, it's highly likely that they're making, I would say, on average, say £500 a month profit after paying all of their expenses, because they may have a mortgage on your property that you're renting from them. They may have additional costs and so on, but it might be creating £500 a month profit for them. So if you're renting a property to somebody, it might well be that that £500 could help you, pay some extra bills or enjoy life in whichever way you may choose. So investing in property not only can create a passive monthly income for you, it can also create long-term wealth. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, a lot of investors invest in property because they know in maybe 2, 3, 5, 10 years time, that property that they bought might be worth 50%, 100% more than what they paid for it. So in other words, if you bought a property, say for £200,000, in 10 years time, it might be worth £300,000. So you would have made, in theory, £100,000 profit. So that's one of the additional pros and exciting things as to why people invest in property. However, don't forget, like anything, there's always additional costs that you need to bear in mind. There's taxation, there's the running costs, there's the management costs, and so on and so on. So if you're looking to invest in property, you can do so in one of two ways. You can be completely hands-off, so you invest in property and let somebody else manage everything for you. Or you can be actively involved to make maybe a little bit more money because you're not paying somebody else to do it. So whether you're looking to invest in property or not as a beginner, you need to consider all of these things. Now, if you've got a lump sum of cash that you want to, utilize to buy a property, then, hey, that's a great idea, as long as you know exactly what you're doing. Because it's no good buying a property and paying, say, X amount for it, and then only to realize that you've maybe paid a bit too much for it. And over time, it's not going to increase in value as much as you hope for. So one of the biggest pros or cons, whichever way you want to call it, is knowledge. Like everything in life, if you don't know what you're doing, you can end up losing a lot of money. And let's be honest, don't we hear it time and time again of how people have lost millions, thousands, millions, billions even overnight when they've invested in stocks and shares or crypto, for example, or the property market has crashed. So all of these pros and cons of investing in property really do make people think a little bit more outside the box. And to be honest with you, very often it scares people to death, so they don't end up doing it. And before they know it, they wish they had. So it is important that you realize and understand what the pros and cons are. So let's just to recap briefly. I'm not going to go too much in depth in this video about how to invest in property, profitably, wisely, and to make sure that you don't lose money. I just want to make it clear as to exactly what the pros and cons are. So number one pro is it can create long-term wealth because property will appreciate in time. Number two, it can create passive income for you. So if you invest in property, it can offer a return on your investment every single month to help pay some extra bills, additional income, or even if maybe you've got a good property portfolio, you could end up maybe retiring early or just allowing your property portfolio to pay you your monthly income. Another great thing about property is it can be incredibly exciting to do. Now, I say that with a lot of passion because over the years, I have refurbished, built houses, done so much with property. And the biggest buzz for me is the rewards at the end. Because if I buy an old property, for example, and I renovate it, okay, that means I've increased its value. So straight away, I've created wealth. Now, I may not have that wealth in my hands as cash, but it's wealth that is sitting there ready for me to cash in as and when I want. So property definitely offers you wealth. Okay, it offers you a source and sense of security, stability, and of course, a pension pot, if you like, for retiring as and when you decide to. Another great pro to invest in property is that you can invest in property and create a trust fund maybe for your children and so on. So again, there are advantages for forward planning. And again, some of those advantages or investment strategies can be offset for tax purposes. The cons, are it can be expensive. It can mean you need some cash to invest in property, which a lot of people may not have. However, don't forget, there are means and ways of how you can invest in property without cash, but that's for another time. The other thing is investing in property can be a little bit stressful because, for example, if you're investing in property and let's say you're going to have to refurbish a property, it means you've got to have some cash to do that. And the whole process dealing with builders and so on can be a little bit stressful. And of course, let's say you decide to flip a property, which again, I'll explain what flipping is in another video. But ideally what that is you buy a property below market value, it's run down, you increase its value by renovating it, and then you sell it on. Now, one of the cons can be that if the market is very slow, the property market is slow in selling houses, it might mean that you can't sell the property as quickly as you'd hoped. The other pros and cons that I think is worth considering are these. Investing in property can offer you tax relief. It can offer you a way of saving tax efficiently, It can also help grow your savings because if you're investing actively in property and you're creating a return on your investment, then that means you could be saving more money, utilizing that money to buy another property. So there's the compound effect. Now you can lose money, So let's say, for example, you invest in property and you think the renovation cost is going to be maybe, 10, 20, 30,000 pounds because that's what you've estimated. And it turns out to be 50,000 pounds. It could mean you end up losing money. So there's a lot to think about. But for me, my takeaway is this. If you're looking to invest in property, do it. But make sure you know how to do it. And you've got somebody who can help and guide you along the way. Hope you found this video helpful. It's not in depth. I tried to keep it simple because I just want to give people the insight as to the pros and cons of investing in property. Anyway, I hope to see you on my next video. So until then, ciao for now.